Alright, good morning, guys. Um, Gonna do a little Fleabay edition. I'm gonna try and move through this stuff very quickly. There's a few things that jump out to me, but I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time, and I will give my explanation, I guess, when we're done with this or as we go along. But I just kind of going through preview and stuff here a little bit, and I'm gonna start with this lathe right here, and we'll see. I'll jump back through and we'll look at some of this other stuff. This is not where I intended to start, but I thought I'd just preview this stuff a little bit today before I started recording this, and this one jumped out at me, so I thought I would show you. And this is kind of what we're seeing with all of these Atlas machines. It's what we've seen for years, and it's things to watch out for, because especially here on Fleabay, and you see it on other ads too, and granted, everybody wants to sell their machines, sell whatever parts they've got, whatever product they've got, and I understand that. But this particular machine, it just jumped out at me, and this is typical of what we see and what you need to be watching out for. Title of this is Vintage Collectible Atlas Craftsman Lathe Quick Change 42 Beautiful American History Piece. This is from a seller that I kind of recognize, got a fair amount of feedback, probably more a dealer than anything else from the amount of feedback I would guess, but shows it as used. Price is, and it's a buy it now price of $2,200 or make offer. And they're not offering shipping, it's free local pickup. The description says collectible vintage Atlas Craftsman lathe quick change 42 in working condition, great piece of American history to own. And it started out, when you read a little bit more of the small print, started out at $3,500 or best offer, sold as is, no returns, refunds, local pickup only. Come inspect and test. So we started out at 3,500 at some point in time. I don't know. I haven't been watching Atlas lathes that much, so I don't know if this has been listed how many multiple times or whatever the deal is. And we're only going to look at the big pictures here. But this is the way a lot of this stuff is listed, and it's buyer beware. I mean, if you buy this, it's yours. So, first picture, this is a parts machine. Granted, it probably started out life as a quick change machine, or at least the bed did, because that's what the bed and the headstock, I'd say. We look at this quick change box, completely different color. I mean, this color does not even come close to matching. And look at the wear on this box. This has been well used and abused, from looking at just the shift knobs on it and everything. Yet this the placard on it, the badging on it, looks relatively new. So I'm going to say this is probably a somebody's replacement badge on it. Gear change selector, and saying it's a quick change, all that. This is all. I would say this has been a replacement, because look at the condition of this compared to the switch. The wear on the switch. So those are the first things. When you look at this quick change cover and this end guard, which are I believe the proper ones for this, they don't even match the headstock. The headstock or the bed. The bed and the headstock and maybe the apron, we'll look a little bit closer, look to be the same color. So those were probably from the same machine. Maybe. I mean, you don't really know looking at this. So that was just the first picture. It does have legs underneath it. It's got a factory stand. But there again, look at the discolor, or the discrepancies in color between that quick change gearbox and that's been changed. And we can see a little bit better farther on. Looks like the stand doesn't match, although can't say for 100% between the bed and everything, but that doesn't look to be matching. The tailstock's a completely different color, and the compound's a completely different color. So this has been put together from parts, or it's been beat up and broken down so many times that it's got a bunch of replacement parts on it. But basically, as far as I'm concerned, this is just strictly a parts machine. Looks like we've got, what have they done here? These are two tool posts, it looks like, two separate ones, or something goofy. Maybe we'll get a better picture down the road. That's I can't tell exactly what that is from this view, unless maybe we've got one tool holder in this one, and then with this one we've got a different tool holder. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, I guess. But and I look at these with such disdain, because they're telling you what a collectible it is and everything, and they're wanting collectible prices for it. And I've said before, Atlas machines are not collectible machines, they're user machines. So from a user standpoint, this may be a fine machine. From a collectible standpoint, this is a piece of crap. Why would you? You're being lied to. You know, just flat out lied to. Um, Look at the rest of this. There again, you can see how good that badging looks there. Yet you look up here at the Atlas badge, and I'm not sure if that's a badge or not there. The handles don't appear to be broken, which if everything else has been parted together, why wouldn't they have replacement handles? Some old piece of crap 3-jaw chuck that's been polished on the outside pretty good. You still see a bunch of staining here and everything. This is an old machine, and I mean, they're all old machines, but they're telling you this is collectible. This is not collectible. There's no way this is even close to being a collectible machine. Got an oil dropper on it, got a different colored tail stock, got rust on the bolt there that holds it together, got rust underneath there, and that's not a factory knob. That's somebody's replacement something or other. Rusty on the nut down here. I hadn't even thought to look at condition of the bed. Look at how speckled. I don't see pitting on there, but look at how speckled up it is. This is a parts machine. This is a piece of crap. Do you have a steady rest with it? It's the factory steady rest. Green on the end of the motor down here. That's somebody's. It's an older motor. Whether it's a factory Atlas motor or not, I don't know. I would guess not from looking at the box on the back and the green color here. I still haven't seen if there's a tailstock knob there. QC42 087001. It's a serial number on it, but these are not all off of that machine. Yeah, look at the staining, the rust spots and stuff on this, where this is not nothing collectible about it. There again, differences in color, rust on here, and it's probably a fine user machine, but it's not collectible, and it's not worth $2,200. You know, look at all the crap on the back. We started out, and this machine hasn't been run recently. Look at the rust on the gears on that. Maybe not rust, but although that looks like that may very well be a cast iron gear. Because you don't know what's been changed here. You know, this is not original. It's a crap machine. So, end gears on the end. Rusty, rusty, rusty. Anyway, there's my little rant there. So I think I'm going to stop. I'm partway down the page on this on lathe, so we'll go right on back up. Now here's a Atlas Craftsman, so we are going down a little bit. I had looked at this. 618 101 6-inch lathe headstock with chuck. Parts / repair has crack. $109 buy it now and $22.50 shipping. Now, and I'm just going to lightly touch on this. Look at the big pictures. Let's go to a picture that shows the damage to it. The chuck's nothing. It's an old wore-out Craftsman chuck. It says Craftsman. Here we're cracked on this headstock. Been clamped down too tight and busted it, or something, one way or another. Got cracked out here. As a lathe headstock, this is junk. There's no, don't waste your money on this. It is junk. Now, what something like this would be good for if you wanted a small project that would be useful, I've always thought something like this would make a very nice indexing head for on a machine. It could be repaired to the point where you could have a pretty good indexing head for not a whole lot of money. You know, just a thought, not advocating it, not saying it's a good idea with something like this, but I'd often thought if I had a chuck just kicking around that wasn't good for anything else, it would make a good base for an indexing head. Food for thought. Milling attachments, $450. They're not okay, and that's back to the top of lathe, so I'm not going to spend much time there. I did want to go to Atlas. Let's go to Shapers real quick. There was at least one interesting thing, and there again we'll go down a little bit and just see if there's anything that really catches my eye. There's a couple of things. There's some, and I'm not going to go in and look at these. I'll throw a picture up. We'll enlarge the thumbnail and I'll throw it up there so we know what part we're talking about. There's about 3 listings here. I think they're probably all from the same seller. At least 2 of them are. I'm looking at them. Atlas Craftsman lathe countershaft and metal shaper part S7-79. These are the links that go on the. They use them on the shaper. They use them on the countershaft assembly on the lathe. Yeah, the shaper and the lathe. Just the standard small castings here. I've said before we replace the bushings. They're wanting $9.95 and $6.35 shipping. That's probably a fair price, about $15 for that link if you need it. So, you know, I mean, I'm not going to beat up the seller on this. This is a seller that I think I do beat up on a little bit. Yeah, he's got at least 3 of them listed here, but they're parts that are left over. That's all I really saw there. I'm not going to go down any farther. We talked about stuff like these ratchet gear cases. There's the same one listed that they had listed that we talked about last week. 3D printed cover. That's a piece of crap on, you know, put 3D printed parts on. There's this pair of Atlas 7B shapers that we've looked at multiple times. They've been on here. They want $3,500 for the both of them. They're not worth, you know, both of them together are worth about $1,800 in my opinion. Now, I just give you my opinion, so take that for what it's worth. Now here's one I've not looked at. It's a brand new listing, 7B metal shaper pre-owned, $9.99 or best offer and free local pickup. So I've not looked at this at all. See what the description says. Seller with a little bit of feedback. Nobody I recognize. Atlas 7B shaper in great condition. It has been pretty much unused since 1980 in the corner of a manufacturing company where the father was a tool maker. Won't last. I will upload more pictures in the next few days. However, won't last long at this price. Handles are tight. This machine was hardly used. Can't convey that enough. Can't tell you how it was only enough how it was driven by a little old lady who only drove it to church on Sundays. So, ugly green, been sitting forever, it looks like. Got a vise, original vise. Got at least the small guard, got the door on it. Is that the only picture we have? Only. Okay, unfortunately that is the only picture we have. Okay, we really need to see more pictures of this. Is it worth $1,000? Maybe. Maybe. Does have the guard. Does have the door. Got Atlas badging on it. It's a 7B. You can see there's a lock for the upright. Now this will be, I would say with, you know, 75% certainty, this is going to be a 3-phase machine because that looks like the switch box right there for it. So I would say this is a 3-phase machine. So you're going to have to deal with that. My personal opinion, I don't mind 3-phase machines, although in a home setting for the home shop, there's no sense on any of these small Atlas machines to have them 3-phase to do the extra expense. You're better off, in my opinion, probably, unless you're running 3-phase on just about everything else in your shop, you're better off converting this over to a single-phase machine. So you're going to have the expense of a motor and switches, you know, whatever's associated with it to make it into a single-phase machine. I would guess this is probably worth $1,000, you know, if you can go and pick it up. I wouldn't commit to that without seeing more pictures of it. You know, would be my only caution. So I guess that's not as big a revelation as I thought it would probably be. I thought we were going to get to see a bunch of pictures of something new and exciting. So let's move right along. Atlas Mills. Got here. And I don't know that there's a whole lot that we haven't seen before here, so I'm not going to spend hardly any time at all. MS3 3-step countershaft pulley, M1-80, $59.99 and $14 shipping. You know, these are about a $25 or a $30 pulley, and that I believe will probably fit in a small flat rate box, so it's, you know, $10 to ship it. So let's look at the big pictures. Looks, I think it's probably a fine pulley just from the little bit that I've looked at it. Yeah, looks like it's going to be a good pulley. Is it going to be worth $80 in the door? Not to me. In the door, if I had to have that, $40. $40 in the door. Okay. And a lot of this other stuff, they're still just way out of sight with. This is all stuff we've looked at. Motor mounts and bases. Now this one's for the milling machine. $124.99, and it's got both the mount that mounts on the main casting and the M108. Just look at the big pictures. There's nothing here worth really talking about even. You know, that's what they've got for us. What's the description say? Yeah, it just says that they're the motor mount base and bracket with hardware from an Atlas horizontal milling machine. So, and there again, there's not enough description here. It says primary part number M1-108. Well, that is this casting, but you've got a separate casting, which is an S. Let's see that S7-74. The S normally indicates a shaper. I don't know if they use the same mounting bracket, if they're both S7-74s on both the middle and the shaper, or if those are two different things. I guess I'm not quite interested enough to go find out. Anyway, that's all I really saw here. Now there's a couple of milling machines listed here, and I think we've looked at, yeah, we've looked at both of these, so I'm not even going to go in and look at them. So that pretty much ties this up. Couple of things. I see guys have been, yeah, there's nothing here really worth seeing. I had noticed earlier the thing about, I've had a couple of things here lately on my websites. I had somebody email me the other day that my website was down, and I went in and looked on it, and I didn't show any errors. Now, what he was looking at, I believe, was probably the hillsgun.com website. That crashed on me quite a while ago. Somebody hacked that here, and it's been about a year ago now, I think, and I have not rebuilt it. I did have a placeholder there, but I didn't have anything. I had not started realistically rebuilding that at all. That site was down, so I spent the morning with tech support, and we finally got it to where there's a placeholder back there and I can access it. It had actually had some errors in there that had locked me out and was given a really stupid error. So I'll start working on that again eventually, and everything that's probably not Atlas related or machine tool related, I'm going to start shifting back over to that site. I've been working on a bunch of parts here lately, and I also had some questions about milling attachment vice jaws. Let me grab a couple. I've gotten to where we've got enough parts listed now for some of these things that I'm getting an overlap, and I got questions about vice jaws. Now these are for the 10 and 12 inch lathe milling attachments. That's what these fit. These are the aluminum jaws. I go back through after I've machined these. One of them is machined, one of them is flat, and after I've put them to size and machined them, I either tumble them, or I will tumble them and then bead blast them, or else I just bead blast them and give them a heavy matte finish. I do them both in steel and aluminum, and these are for the 10-12 inch. This is the size. These are steel ones that have been blued. The steel ones I run through my bluing tanks. They're made the same way, except they get blued just like that. These are for 6-inch. These are the 10-inch, 10, 12-inch are the bigger ones. So the 10 and 12-inch parts are the same. The 6-inch is going to be smaller. Now that holds true for the bevel pins that I build for both the 10-inch and the 6-inch lathes, 10 and 12 and 6-inch. The bevel pins and then the square-headed screws that hold them on, there I do those for both 10, 12-inch and the 6-inch too. Sizes are different between the 6 inches and the 10-inch, 12-inch. Otherwise, they're the same. And I did go back in the website and clarify the difference on these. There was a question about the 10-inch and wondered which was which and that type of thing. So hopefully I've cleared that up. All this stuff's on the Atlas Machine Shop website. We talked about it before. Back to these aluminum vice jaws. The Fleabay going price has been $39.99 for a pair of these. One of these and a flat one, or this setup right here. $39.90, or yeah, $39.99, and I think 6 something shipping. Today I think I saw a set listed for $37.99 and then 6 something shipping. $10. These are on the website for $10. 6 or 10-inch, they're $10. The steel ones are on there for $25, and that's steel, machined, blued, just like that. So pays your money, takes your chances. You know, everybody's got to make their money, but for cost of manufacture, time involved, and what's involved in these, and I build these in pretty big batches now. They're in stock, they're there. If right now the website is only set up to ship to the US, and I realistically am not interested at this point in time in the hassle of shipping abroad or even Canada. If there's really something somebody wants someplace, let me know. I will investigate it. But my preference is just to leave the website set the way it is. Part of the reason I can keep these as inexpensive as they are is I don't waste a whole lot of time messing around with shipping. You know, I go in, I ship those out of the software that's associated with the website. Everything's processed through there, and I either drop them off at our little postal satellite station right over here, or else I will have them pick them up if I catch the postman. So that's the deal on those. So if anybody has problems with the website, can't get through, or it shows an error or something, let me know. But as of right now, the atlasmachineshop.com website is working the way it's supposed to. So there's the deal there. So anyway, that's about all I got going on. I've got lots of Atlas projects going on now, and weather's starting to cool down a little bit, so we're spending a little more time in the shop and also here working on the computer. So hopefully you find that a little bit useful, a little bit interesting. Comments, suggestions, leave them in the comments section for me below. I feel like I'm forgetting to say something, but I don't really know what it is. There will be more of an update too. I've had several inquiries, and this is not Atlas related, but I've had several inquiries about upgrades and even just servicing Hornady Pacific 366 reloading presses. And I did a series, there's 3 or 4 videos, more, there may be more than that, on the Hornady 366s where I rebuilt a couple of mine, or one of mine, and converted it over to auto index, swing out wad guides, the accessories that go with that. The last year and a half or so, I've turned down requests to do those. I will probably start, well, I've already agreed to do a couple here just in the last week and a half, I guess. We'll see what develops with those. I'm going to spend a little more time on some of those. We're streamlining that process quite a bit. I'm still in the process of setting up a little bit better tooling for the conversion parts that I build for those, especially for the castings. So that stuff is on the way. I've not, and that's when they're actually set up and running, and I'm officially taking more of those back in. Why they'll be listed on the hillsgun website, I believe. So anyway, that's kind of an update there. So the guys that have asked me about that, that's kind of the update. I've got 3 or 4 that wanted me to contact them when I had those in production. I've not done that yet, but that'll happen over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, that's what's happening there. Comment suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys. And as always, have a good weekend, and thanks for taking the time to watch.